It's Mooman.
Mooman?
This is not a dream.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Mooman. It is Mooman on the mic.
Yo, what's going on? It's your man once again, Mooman, with the Initiative on the Mic podcast, where we get into everything celebrity news, world news, sociology, psychology, and WTF. Let's get it. Okay, listen. All right, my shout out of the day is going to BB Rexa. Of this episode, shout out is going to BB Rexa because, you know, she was getting bullied during the Met Gala. You know what I mean? Azalea Banks, you already know she's the big bully. Shout out to Azalea Banks. I might want to headline that one. But no, BB Rexa is my shout out only just because she handled it very well. And this is Mental Health Awareness Month, as y'all know. And when it comes to mental health, body shaming, body dysmorphia, body uncomfortability, all of that plays into your mental health in dangerous ways, okay? Azalea Banks could have triggered BB Rexa into doing something crazy. And I love her work. She's one hell of an artist, you know what I mean? She has music that I definitely enjoy. They still spinning on my playlist, so I'm not understanding, but she handled it very well. Shout out to BB Rexa for keeping her mind stable in the midst of the body shaming. She's been body shamed for years. Shout out to her holding it down in her mind because she could crack at any time. We all could when it comes to our bodies, yes? So we need to teach ourselves and train ourselves to be more kind to each other. I mean, just for a little while longer while we still are on the planet, yes? You see what I'm saying? So shout out to BB Rexa. Let's get into our headline hero. And our headline hero, you see what I'm saying? Again, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. That is the hero. That is the headline hero, okay? And like I said, you know what I'm saying, for the whole month, the headline hero is mental health awareness. Do whatever you gotta do to make sure that you are comfortable with whomever you're around and comfortable in your skin. Do whatever you gotta do to make sure that your social circle caters to your mental health on every level. And yes, that's for everybody. That goes for everybody. And if you don't mesh on a magnetic, electric, and organic frequency, knowing that you're doing the positive thing of keeping your mental health in line, then those people that you are not meshing with are not supposed to be around you. Okay, straight up. I'm just being straight up and forward. Our mental health is important, especially in this day and age. We got a lot of things going on. We got to get a lot of things in order. Okay. Not to mention, you know what I'm saying, herbal remedies that guide our mental stabilities. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say anything prescription because I'm not a doctor. I don't know what you should or should not be prescribed. But here's the main prescription you should have when you wake up in the morning, and that's faith. Ultimate prescription. Let's get into the headline hunting.
Let's do it. We on the hunt. Headline hunting.
Okay, some headline hunting. Rodney Hinton Jr. Okay, he had a GoFundMe going for $6,000. Okay, he's doing time for aggravated murder, doing time today because the other day he had a GoFundMe issue an apology, you know what I'm saying, for allowing his GoFundMe to run. You know, if y'all haven't kept up with the story recently, Rodney Hinton Jr. ran over a Cincinnati police officer after a deputy allegedly shot his son while conducting a traffic stop the day before. All right, his sister, she's the one that hit the GoFundMe. You know what I'm saying? She gave a statement saying, "I'm reaching out to the community for support to help my brother and family with any decisions that need to be made. Yes, my brother lost his son at the hands of the police, but we are very positive in our faith that justice will be served." All right, now Larry Henderson was the victim of the scenario. You see what I'm saying? Now this situation right here, this is something that we're going to have to talk about more. But if you got the headlines, get the story and let's move it. Headline hunting. India controls 55% of Kashmir. The reason why I said that is because that's the topic. Because the headline is that Pakistan and Kashmir have been going at it. Okay. Missiles have been has been shot. You see what I'm saying? But all I want to say is, on the other side, Pakistan vows retaliation after Indian airstrikes following Kashmir attacks. Kashmir's GDP is 27.70 billion in translation from their 20.30 lakh crore. Okay, Pakistan's GDP is 337.9 billion. Okay, Pakistan has a strong strategic economic partnership with China called the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Alright, not to mention that 43% of India, you see what I'm saying, is aligned with Russia. Okay, only 25% aligned with the United States. Now that may not seem connected, but I assure you it is. Headline hunting, Young Thug album, You Watch Scooty. Drop date June 2025. Be on the lookout for that. Headline hunting, ASAP Rocky reveals that he auditioned for Lando in Star Wars at one point in time. Okay, but he gave his flowers to Donald Glover, who played the role. You know what I mean? But he also wants to try to play 007. The reason why these are two headlines is because, listen, he has a lot going on, had a lot going on. You know what I mean? It would be interesting to see ASAP Rocky do anything when it comes to acting. He is an interesting character. And no, I don't mean that to be any kind of funny. Headline hunting. Check out the new albums to listen for coming out May 7th or May 16th. We got Exhibit with Kingmaker, T Grizzly with Forever My Moment, Rico Nasty with Lethal, and Amine with 13 Months of Sunshine. Alright, come on now, bro. Like, these are some hard hitters. And Exhibit, that would be his 8th studio album. Okay? Y'all gotta understand, man. I am a fan of art. I am a fan of artistry, no matter which way it comes from. Music, tap dance, construction, culinary, medical. There's artistry in every industry. And that is what DC Initiative is about. So when I see legends like Exhibit or hitmakers like T Grizzly, Rico Nasty, Amine, that just expands and waters the playlist for more and more creativity to come through the zeitgeist, through the sin waves that we all use for the frequency, sound, and vibrations of music that we all enjoy. Shout out to Sinners. Yeah, I know y'all caught that one. You know what I'm saying? So here's what I want to talk about for a second. You see what I'm saying? Let's talk about the Met Gala, right? Now I know I've shouted out the Met Gala in the last episode, kept shouting them out too, but let's do a deep dive into the Met Gala. The fashion was all black. I'm sorry, but it was. You see what I'm saying? And if it wasn't all black, it was black inspired. Okay, we had some of the most amazing displays and portrayals of art and artistry that I've ever seen at the Met Gala. Not only did they break records making $70+ million, or maybe it was 30. I might be exaggerating. But the point is they made millions and millions of dollars. You see what I'm saying? This is the first time they've ever done this. This is amazing to me. You see what I'm saying? Not to mention the dandyism style that is black culture. You see what I'm saying? In every feminine and masculine energy that you can think about at that gala. You understand what I mean? Like some of them suits, some of them dresses. You know what I mean? Like, you can say what you want about celebrities, say what you want about artists. When it comes to fashion, that's when the true mastery of their craft to me comes out. It's one thing to do music, it's one thing to develop merch for the trending topics at the time. It's one thing to do rollout projects, sure. Great, and tours are amazing. But when you get a chance to grab these artists and get them to funnel all of that creativity, stadium level creativity, into the intricacies of style and fashion, not to mention the makeup, not to mention the shoes, everything correlating, you know what I'm saying, together. Man, like, you hit it. You hit the nail on the head, Jack. And I just had to get into it one more time. You see what I'm saying? Again, shout out to the Met Gala. I hope that's one of my bucket lists. Okay, I'm trying to attend. Okay, I got some fashion myself. All right, we're moving on. Okay, so check it out. Let's get into the back of the house headline, because I definitely want to discuss a lot of the back of the house headline. And again, it's the back of the house There's no different than the front of the house. In this podcast, we cleared the front of the house and checked the back of the house. And the back of the house headline is Memphis officers acquitted in deadly beating of Tyree Nichols. All right, now if y'all haven't kept up with the story, let me hit y'all with a flashback. January 7th, 29-year-old Nichols was violently beaten for 3 minutes by Memphis police officers at a traffic stop and died of his injuries. All right, 5 black officers were responsible for the beating. Okay, they were charged with second-degree murder, aggravated assault, 2 charges of aggravated kidnapping, 2 charges of official misconduct, and 1 charge of official oppression. 3 of those 5 officers, Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justice Smith, have been acquitted. Okay, all right, and this was during a 9-day trial, which led to an 8.5 deliberation during a 2-day time span, and 3 of them have been acquitted. Now, I know this hasn't been on so many headlines throughout the country, and it should, because that should let you know that blue lives matter to these officers, whether they're black, brown, yellow, pink, or orange. Okay, they believe themselves to be of a class that supersedes the class that they're supposed to be serving and protecting. They, as well as every other racist, prejudiced, corny cop, and they are corny and they are cowards. They don't deserve to wear those badges. They don't deserve to put on a civil, you know what I'm saying, uniform. And I say civil because civility is what needs to be practiced amongst our law enforcement that is extinct all across the nation, except for a handful, and those handfuls are not doing everything they need to do, whether you're black, brown, blue, yellow, or orange, unless you want to uphold the agenda of the division of racism, which is what transhumanist globalists that's sitting at top of the badges that you would get if you were to kill a black man, or the honoraries that you get if you were to kill an innocent white man. You have to understand how they're using these things against us. You see what I'm saying? I mean, all the way from the headline hunting, where we were talking about Rodney Hinton Jr. You see what I'm saying? And how he got vigilante revenge for killing a cop. It wasn't even the cop that killed his son that he killed. He was just out for blood. It's understandable from a moral perspective when you are captivated and you are centered around family. It's ridiculous from a socio-economic standpoint, because now you have enemies of the propaganda that can use these kinds of incidences to further implement a race war, and a race war that covers an economic war, and then the economic war that covers a scientific war. You see what I'm saying? All of it is a cover for a higher level of war, and it has nothing to do at the highest levels if you're more melanated or not. What matters is the fact that they believe that they can put class warfare in between every division of racial tension that there is, in order to spur on the ultimate civil war that they want to implement. An angrier world is an angrier war. And then, mind you, all of this is directed towards the established governments that don't tolerate the division of their people. You see what I'm saying? Or the people that they govern. And these are for the people who are really hearing me. If this podcast gets to you, shout out to the initiative, because I am definitely taking the initiative to make sure that y'all see and peep the hoodwink. Okay, that's what I really need y'all to see with these headlines. Yes, those were 5 black officers. Black. They are captivated by Stockholm syndrome of their bosses. They believe that their uniforms that they wear identify greater than the identities that they were born with. And that's a fact. It's called mind control. It's called brainwashing. Black people, just as well as those who assimilate into the white population, also look for that white acceptance. And that's what needs to be decolonized from our states of mind. You see what I'm saying? And these are the facts. You know what I mean? My thing is that these headlines are used and abused by the propaganda machine that hides within the media. You see what I'm saying? And that's where we got to make sure that we keep our heads in the midst of these headlines and really decide our rights and our wrongs. You see what I'm saying? This calls upon a leading of faith and a leading of action, reaction, and response. But again, that will be up for another episode. It is your man, Moo Man on the mic. Thank you once again for listening to the podcast, and I will see y'all on the next episode.
I don't mean no disrespect, but no way. I can't listen to you, I do this my own way.